Hi, my name is Ken Brown, and this is my backyard build 1952 Chevy. I've owned the truck for about a year and a half. It was a wreck, complete restoration, all ready to go. It was a big project. I did everything in the garage except for the final paint job and the upholstery. Everything else was done in my garage, body work, chassis work, setup, the whole 9 yards. So that made it really easy for me, so I could work on it for 12, 14 hours a day. And I wanted to get it done. I'm not getting any younger. In the past, when I've built something, I've always welded stuff in on the old chassis and stuff like this. But so what I did to save myself time was I went with the TCI chassis and stuck it right underneath the truck, did the body work and floors and replaced the floors on the cab, got it all set up, and then painted the underneath of the cab and then put it on the chassis. I bought the chassis directly from TCI, and I called up Evan and set it up through Evan. I'd already looked it up, and I bought the vehicle in November. I was looking in December. I ordered it in December, and you guys had a sale on it at the time. When you sit down and figure out how much time you're going to have in putting a new Mustang front suspension and the 4-link in the back and putting a Curry rear end in it, the time is a big difference, about 6 months at least for me. And I make mistakes, so it's occasionally you got to grind stuff off and redo it. And the other thing is, it's only about $3,000 or $4,000 difference. It wasn't that big a difference in price for the grand total. So it was like, again, I'm running out of time. And to me, I wanted to get this thing done so I could start enjoying it. I had this thing up to 100 miles an hour the other day. Overall, she just handles really beautiful going down the road. Really nice, a good driver, excellent driver. It's a crate motor, 300 horsepower Chevy, GM motor. It's got the 700R tranny, and it's got the Ford 9-inch in the rear with the posi and 350 gears. Besides the Chevy motor, you have a Walker radiator, 4-core radiator, real heavy duty for this particular little car, and it runs just as cold as can be. It's got the Be Cool radiator electric fan. It's got a vintage air. It's got an Edelbrock carburetor. Well, what happened was, Chuck he builds a lot of cars, and he has about 7, 8 cars of his own that he's built, and he has a lot of tires around. So what happened was when I first started, he gave me some rollers, and what happened is I kept moving the rollers because certain things that wouldn't fit anymore. And so finally he loaned me these, and they fit perfect. And so I got to looking at it, and I thought, well, you know, I was going to go with the artillery wheels and all that, go more classic look, but I really like this look. And so I talked him into selling them to me. It took him off his 61 bubble top. The upholsterer was Albert Lara, and out of North Hollywood. He does beautiful work. Really a good guy, good businessman. He gets it done quickly. He doesn't mess around. In fact, he was coming over taking panel measurements off my doors and stuff like that before it was done. So he had stuff ready in his garage. All he had to do was slap it all in when he was done. I mean, you know, when I took it into him. The steering wheel was a Budnick wheel, and it's an old traditional type banjo wheel, but a little more unique than some of them, and I just fell in love with it when I saw it in the magazine. A lot of the, you know, the grills on the dash and things like that, I ended up getting from Brothers Trucks. The gauges are classic instruments. Very good people to work with. I'm very pleased with them, very pleased with them. They came out really nice, especially with this color combination with the tan leather, and we got the tan gauges, the face on the gauges, and a really nice package. Worked real good. As far as modification goes to the body, I kept it pretty much stock. I mean, I tried to make sure my gaps were right, so I did a lot of cutting on the doors and cutting on the hood to try to get my gaps nice and clean. Filled the holes on the end of the bed, and it's a Marquet bed, so they did it for me, so it made it a lot easier. And this is my second Marquet bed, and I would not even attempt to even play with an old bed anymore after dealing with Marquet. Very reasonable priced and top quality. Even my painter went, wow, the metal on this thing's like 12 gauge. This is ridiculous. And so he was impressed, and I've always been impressed with Marquet products. The gentleman that did the painting on it worked for DG Collision out of Covina, and this is my third paint job that he's done for me. And all of his workmanship and his final product is always beautiful, and really a pleasure to work with him. And the paint brand is Uno. I've never heard of it before, but the gentleman that told me the paint was a good product, and the color, I was told, was from a Fiat, a 2013-ish Fiat 1500. A lot of the parts I purchased through Summit Racing and they were fantastic. Anything that wasn't quite right, they'd send you a replacement, and it was fast. Within a day I had my parts, and it was fantastic. All the parts were excellent quality, and I can't say enough about how good Summit Racing was to work with, especially when you're talking on the internet. I mean, they were great. I hope you enjoyed my little interview with my 52 pickup, but my main reason for doing this is because I'm a backyard guy. I do a lot of my own work, and anybody can take a chassis like this, already done, clean it up, paint it your color, whatever you want to do to it, put it back together again, and have one outstanding ride. It really is a good ride, and it couldn't have been any easier as far as the chassis work was concerned. So that's why I'm here. You can do this stuff, guys. It's not a big deal.